Welcome to this week's Illinois Wesleyan Titan Coaches Show. I'm Eric Stock, joined by Dave Barrett, the head women's soccer coach at Illinois Wesleyan. Coach, good to have you back.
Hello, Eric. How are you?
Doing well. So a productive week for you. First, beating Benedictine. We start there, a road victory last week.
Yep. It was a busy first 11 days for us of the season. We had 5 games in the first 11 days, so it was a real busy stretch where our training pattern didn't really allow us to get much work done in terms of progressing because we were always either recovering from a game or sort of not wanting to overtax ourselves before the next game. So the midweek fell into to that pattern. It was a decent result against a team that typically plays conservatively against us. So kind of did what we needed to do. Scored a couple good goals, showed some good poise, but it was, again, like fell into a pattern where we're still, now that we weren't able to kind of address much from what we did at the weekend last, out in Ohio and stuff. So, yeah, we're keeping plugging along.
You followed that up as you come back, lost to Chicago, one of the top programs in the country, but then bouncing back the next day to beat Franklin and posting another shutout.
I think our schedule has been, pretty challenging to this point. A little bit of a balance, but University of Chicago is probably one of maybe 3 or 4 of the best teams in the country. They returned, I think, 8 or 9 of their starters off their Final Four team last year. So a very experienced, very well coached, disciplined, talented team. Our group is young and learning, and we made some sort of naive mistakes against a quality team that will, make you pay for those mistakes. But I think, we're in the process of growing and learning about what we need to do better as players, as coaches, to kind of keep us moving in the right direction. Franklin College should win their league. They have a couple pretty good players, and she does a really good job as a new coach, getting them organized and stuff. So we feel fortunate to kind of get through the weekend, with a result on the Sunday, and kind of looking forward to just kind of have a good week of training for the first time since preseason, really, to get back to work on some things that we think are going to help us get better.
Cameron Hindle scored the game winner, the only goal against Franklin. She was Offensive Player of the Week at the conference last week, and this week you had the Defensive Player of the Week in Cassie Weissman.
Yeah, we're very happy for the players who get some notoriety. Cameron and Cassie have done well and certainly deserving of distinction. So, we're always grateful when we get noticed.
So as you have maybe a little time now to sort of regroup and reassess after the frenetic pace to start the season with 5 matches in 11 days, do you feel that the team is able to use that well to reload for the tournament at Whitewater? Yeah, absolutely. We had a really good session yesterday, and it's a good time to actually be able to do some things and address some needs, allow some people to maybe more opportunity to demonstrate their abilities in training, but also begin to work on developing more connection in certain groups of individuals and cleaning up some things that are going to help us be better, because we go up to Whitewater, Wisconsin this weekend. We'll play Wash U, who's the defending national champs and ranked 1. So in the span of 7 days, we'll play the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country. So, you can't really go too much above that in terms of what happens thereafter. So that's kind of our attitude going into it is, look, if we're competing with literally the top 2 teams in the country, what can anyone else hold? So we're trying to keep a good attitude about it, and again, use this week to slow down a little bit and get back to business in terms of finding the right training rhythms and addressing some of the things that we just think are going to help us get better. Well, I'm sure the players would play every day if they could, but coaches are like, okay, we need to get back to basics every once in a while.
Well, and not only that, I mean, the players would play every day, but I think their bodies would break down too, and they're beginning to realize that, the rigor or reminded, depending on how old they are, rigor of college soccer it catches up to you, and you can't play all the time. It's a hard grind, and so having some days in between where we can begin to get a rhythm and your body begins to kind of get assimilated to a college season again. Now we're into a better pattern of that, where after this weekend we get back into pretty much a Wednesday, Saturday pattern of play. But having a few days this week to recover our bodies and to address some things, I think is a nice change.
All right. Well, congratulations on the success so far. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.